Welcome to another episode of Prepper Talk Radio. I am Scott, and I got Paris in the house, and Shane is out for the night. So we wish him well. Hope he's safe and whatever he's doing. I think he's fishing or out of town or no family reunion. One of those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yes,
something
no,
like that.
maybe so. But we're excited to be here. We're going to be talking about financial preparedness tonight. And tonight's episode is brought to you by jasemedical.com. That's a Jase medical.com. We have a 10% off coupon code for you.
$10.
Is it $10?
$10, yeah.
Why do I always get it wrong? It's $10. That's right, $10. 10% is our promo code for the Ready Summit. I read that while I was talking about the other one. This is how live stream works, guys. I mess up all the time. So yeah, Jase Medical is $10 off when you get your emergency antibiotics from jasemedical.com. So Paris he has his own channel on YouTube called Financial Self-Reliance. He also has a fantastic course, a 30-day challenge, and an advanced course. Can you tell our guests about that just so they know a little bit more about you? I mean, you're obviously a host of Prepper Talk Radio, but tell them about the whole other side of Mr. Paris that they don't know. Let's get
Sure. We'll do a quick history. Back when I was 5 years old. No, I'm just kidding. So actually, a quick history is that in 2001, I qualified for the 401k at work. And I barely knew how to spell 401k at that time. And I was excited because I was like, what is this? And I didn't have an idea. I didn't have a clue. So all I knew about money at that point was that it was green and I wanted more of it. And so I decided if I'm going to qualify for the 401k, I need to learn more about money. And so I decided to read a bunch of books about money and how to manage my money, how to invest my money, how to grow my money, just all personal finance. I was reading probably a book or two a week. And a neighbor of mine turned to me and says, "Hey, Paris, I qualified for the 401k too. Would you mind teaching me what you learned and what you know?" And I was like, "Sure, I'm not a professional, but I'll share with you what I know." And she said, after discussing it and showing her some things and what she should do, she said, "Paris, you should do this for a living. You have a gift. Like, I finally understand what I'm supposed to do with my 401k and what I'm supposed to do with my investments." And I said, "Well, let me do it. Thank you. Maybe I do have a gift." So I pursued a career in financial profession as a financial professional, coaching, advising, educating, and sales. I did my licensed life and health insurance agent. For about 15 years, I was a licensed registered rep, which gives me the ability to sell mutual funds and stocks, not stocks individually, but mutual funds and securities, other things like that. And then I got my Series 65, which is my investment advisory. So I could be an investment advisor representative. So I developed, you actually inspired me, Scott, a couple of years ago. So you said, "Hey, dude, all this stuff that you know needs to be, you could make a video course and you can really put this down and really help people and put this out." And I said, "Hey, I don't know anything about recording videos. I don't know anything about videography or nothing." So you said, "Let's do this." And you said you'd help me, and you did. And we put together a course. Then just life got busy and things got happening. And I worked with some other people to finish it off. But I developed a 30-day challenge because most people, when they come to me and they talk to me and I ask them about their money, they say, "I just don't have enough money to, 2 cents to put together. I don't have 5, 10, 2 dimes, 2 nickels, whatever." And I said, "Listen, if I can help you find money, in your budget, would you use it to help better your future and help invest in your future and really do some things?" And that's what the 30-day challenge is designed to do, is kind of teach people what they should have learned in school, but didn't get a chance to. Because so many people I have so many people tell me, "Paris, I make a ton of money. I just can't keep it." Well, the 30-day challenge is kind of that beginning phase of educating you on, once you make a bunch of money, now what? And that's the 30-day challenge.
I took it myself. Like I've done financial advising. Oh, I shouldn't say financial advising. I've been a life insurance agent. I've been a Series 6, Series 63. I did 401ks, IRAs, all that fun stuff, annuities. And it was insane back when I did it. And I got out and then I got back in to do insurance. And I'm like, I really don't this isn't my jam. Like, I'm all about helping people get prepared. So I'm like, I'll leave that side to you, the finance side, even though I'm like very well versed. I understand so many things about it. It's like, that's great and all, but it's just not my jam. So, and you talked me into starting up Prepper Talk Radio again. And because of that, I started the Ready Summit, which tickets are now on sale. So guys, if you want to check that out, thereadysummit.com, you will actually save 10% on that one if you go to thereadysummit.com and use the promo code Prepper Talk. And all of the other affiliates that are helping promote this, you're going to find their promo codes. If you want to support them, they'll be talking about their promo codes on their platforms. Make sure you go look at their platform, use their promo code if you want to support them as well. But guys, it's going to be awesome. The 28th, 29th, and 30th. And that's a way you can actually save a ton of money on preparedness, because there's going to be discounts, giveaways, and a whole lot of other stuff that we're going to help people with. So that's my wheelhouse. So, but money, I mean, you know how I've been up and down with money. I've made crazy amounts of money at times, and other times I make none.
Mm-hmm.
And prepping has always saved me in those downtimes. So what, like in the 30-day challenge, I've taken it myself. The biggest thing I learned was better budgeting, keeping track of it. And I've actually used that to apply towards my preps and inventorying my preps as well. I got super anal about it. But when someone's like just brand new, like doesn't know what the crap they're doing, when they get out of high school, they don't have any clue on finance. Most kids, because they don't know how to budget. They don't know how to use a checking account or savings account. A lot of times they end up using a checking account like it's a credit card and blowing through all their money, and then going, wait, why am I getting overage fees? And then it's like knowing the right place to invest, etc. Like, where do you start people?
Well, I used to start people with just making sure that they're efficiently using the money that they're earning. Like, what are you spending that you shouldn't be spending? Let's go through your expenses. So what I talk to people in the 30-day challenge is really go through the next 30 days of your life and let's make some changes, because habits change over 30-day periods. So in the first module, I talked to them about kind of the idea of making sure that they're, well, one of the biggest things we do is overpay our taxes, and a tax refund is not getting money. It's not an investment, paying too much to the IRS. It's actually the worst thing you can do. So I tell people, look, let's readjust your W-9, your W-4, and get your your W-2. The W-9 is for independent contractors. The W-4 is what you get in the mail.
When I do a W-2, I'm like, wait, what do I fill out again? This is different.
Yeah, exactly. And so, one of the things that I realized is as well a couple of years ago, and I think 2014 is when I really started prepping, is that I was like, this costs money. There's an investment here that you need to have in order to really truly prepare. Like proper 72, 96 hour kits, right gear, solid, good gear, bug out locations. That takes money. You got to have some good cash flow to be able to do that. And not just cash flow, but positive cash flow. So and positive cash flow is the difference between what you, if cash flow is what you make and what you spend, but positive cash flow is making more money than you're spending. And so if you don't have right now, some people are saying, we get lots of questions all the time in the group, especially in the Facebook group, is that, hey, I just don't have enough money. How do I do? How do I prepare on a smaller budget? Things like that. Well, if you really get your finances in order and you get your budget right and you learn what you're spending your money on, you can actually cut back on a lot of things. Like, do you need, 500 channels on your cable TV? Do you need, all the things? Do you need
no, you don't.
A $100 deductible on your, insurance, or could you go with $1,000 deductible and save yourself several $100s a year? So there's different things that do you need back in the day, it was things like, do you need cable TV and internet and everything else? You can bundle it all, a lot of that stuff nowadays. But I'm just saying that people can look at their expenses and they can see, are you really going to the gym? Are you really reading that magazine that you're subscribed to? Are you really, matter of fact, a guy just told me the other day, he says, I think I'm subscribed to like 14 streaming services or whatever. And I'm like, do you even watch them all? Well, it was I got a promotion deal. Well, that's how they reel you in. So just go through your expenses and just realize, sometimes it takes time. It takes time. It takes effort, it takes work. And sometimes that can overwhelm you. But literally sit down. And what I tell people to do is look at your last 90 days of your bank statements, credit card statements, and any other statement where you spend money, and just look, what did you actually spend money on over the last 90 days? And then what you do is you add that up. Like, I spent money at Starbucks, or I spent money at the grocery store, and I spent money on my mortgage or my rent. So categorize all those things, and then add it all up over 90 days and then divide by 3. And that gives you an average of what you spend every month in each of those areas. And if when you know the next 30 days, the goal is then in the challenge that is the next 30 days to reduce your spending in the areas where you can reduce spending. Everybody wants to reduce their rent. Everybody wants to reduce their mortgage, but that's not realistic. But what we can reduce, unfortunately, we got to reduce other areas now so we can take care of the increase in gas prices. But managing your money is such a critical skill set, and it's a skill set that can be used. And that's really what I want to teach people how to do. Because once you get some cash flow freed up, you can start using that money to buy your preps, buy your food storage, buy your water storage, buy the right gear, get the right information, get the vehicles that you need, get the bug out equipment that you need, and then start investing in gold and silver. You have money left over for stocks if you want to invest in those. You have money for that future stuff that like the stock 401ks, IRAs, things like that. If you want to get invested in those things, life insurance is critical. The other thing is teaching people how to get out of debt. So, I mean, just one thing at a time, though.
One of our listeners actually just commented that they switched from Verizon and they cut their phone bill down from the $80 a month to $14 a month. And she's saying she sees no difference in
That's
coverage.
awesome.
And that's the thing, is like we can switch things. Like car insurance is almost the same. You can always find every 6 months, change your car insurance, drop it down. There's always someone else that's going to give you a better deal, better rate. Same with homeowners, like you're bundling things. Like we dropped to one car to save money. Like,
nice.
I work from home. Why do I need two cars?
Yep.
The only time I go anywhere, it's either with my family or getting stuff for family, but it's not for work.
Yeah.
Like find ways to cut. Cause then when you cut, then you can put money back into, for example, retirement. You can put it into investments. You can put it, like where I like to put it, into preps. You know, my biggest thing about finances for prepping is like that emergency savings fund, like having a minimum of 3 months saved up. So if you don't have work, if something happens, if you're short-term disability, like anything, you've got your mortgage covered and you're not screwed over, for lack of a better word. Like you're okay. You can get through it.
Yeah. In my mastery course, which is the more advanced course, I go through the 7 stages, or what I call the 7 areas of personal finance. And the first area is your mindset. You got to believe that it's possible for you. So many times we were conditioned throughout our life that only the rich are going to get richer and the poor middle class are going to stay poor middle class. Well, who says that has to be that way? That's a belief system. That's a mindset. And your mindset.
Yeah. It's a marketing thing. Like it just, everyone falling into it. Oh man, I got to get the new boat. Oh, I got to get the new kicks. I need to have the newest Jordans.
Yeah.
You were in high school when that was happening.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I can't afford Jordans. I'll stick to my Chuck Taylor knockoffs from, what was it? Pay less shoe stores.
I was super excited when I got to buy my first pair of Converse, or they were the you said Chuck Taylor, but it was the Converse shoes, the high tops, the Converse high tops. It was a name brand, and I was like, Mom, can I buy a name brand, please? So I was all about those thrift stores and whatever else we could come across, because it's just a mindset of who told you that you're going to stay this way? Who told you that who told you have to be an employee and work for somebody else for the rest of your life? Today, we're seeing so many people do side hustles and earn extra money. I think the mindset is really blossoming right now, of people saying, hey, I don't want to stay where I am. And that's part of preparing and being prepared for the futures. We got to make more money. There's just no way we're going to survive unless we're making more money.
Especially when gas is like $6. Like, oh my gosh, it went up 29 cents where I live in the last week.
That's ridiculous.
I'm like,
it's like $5.50 here down here where I am.
Is it really? I'm beating you. I'm at 529. I'm golf, low score wins, right? That's nuts, guys. The way the economy is going so fast, like record inflation, everything else is bad. It's like, okay, so how do we save money? It's cutting the things that aren't doing anything for us. Cutting all the non-essential stuff, like eating out. Oh my gosh, we stopped eating out. We were eating out like 4 or 5 times a week, and now it's like once a week. And we're spending the same amount of money we used to, but if we were to keep spending, if we were still going out to eat, it costs us an extra $150 a week.
Yeah, that's huge.
How bad it's gotten. That's how expensive it's gotten to keep eating out.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of those, the Dave Ramseyites, I call them, and there's a reality to disciplining yourself. You've got to discipline your spending, no doubt. No doubt that you have to discipline your spending. But the reality is that, are we going to live on rice and beans for the rest of our life? That kind of goes back to mentality. Let's just go make, there's so many opportunities to make more money. It will be easier, honestly. And this is, I don't know where the statistics are, but I believe that somebody told me the other day, it's easier for you to make $300 than it is for you to cut your expenses by $300.
I believe that.
And so just go make the money. Manage, discipline your spending. Absolutely. Discipline your spending, but go make more money. That's really what it boils down to. And then your cash flow is increasing and you have a positive cash flow. And as soon as you do that, now you can start building towards savings and you can build sinking funds. Like, one of the biggest things that I tell people is, like, imagine this. Imagine buying something with money you already saved.
That's like 90% of what I buy. I try not to spend anything on credit anymore. It's just, when we have to, but like, for the most part, don't even do it. I just don't. I know you use credit all the time because of the points and rewards, but you've got a wholly different strategy, right? Like, explain.
I do. So I love credit cards because I'm disciplined. If you're not disciplined, don't do credit. Don't do what I'm about to say. If you have no self-discipline, don't do it, please.
I can see some guy, I just maxed out all my credit cards. This is amazing. I got so many points.
Yeah, because Paris at Prep Talk Radio said to do it. No, time out. So if you're disciplined and you can pay off your balance every month, which I do, I don't pay interest, I earn it. So, for example, I have an Amazon rewards card and I buy all kinds of stuff on Amazon. So I get 5% discount, 5% cash back. So I literally every couple of orders, I get that for free, because, like, as soon as that cash points come back, I get it. And then I actually looked at my statement and they for the year, and I think last year, I'm pretty sure I got like $1,500 back from Amazon. So I made $1,500 from Amazon rewards card.
There you go.
If you can make money on your credit cards, then that's the way to go. And that's what I'm telling you, is that if you can use a credit card wisely, use it. And first of all, use it because you'll get the points and the cash back. Second of all, there's a liability protection there. If you go and swipe your debit card, it's gone. It's out of your bank and you got to fight with your bank to get it back and fight for that. You swipe a credit card and you call up and it's a fraud or some kind of it doesn't go right, or maybe you want to return it or something like that. You can just call up Visa or MasterCard or whoever and say, hey, these guys scammed me, or these guys didn't produce the right product or service, or I'm sending it back. And they'll file a claim and they'll get a chargeback on their deal and you get your money right back. There's just liability protection with credit cards that you don't get with debit cards. So that's why I use that.
Huge insurance policy to be able to use that. Like, for business, I use credit all the time.
Yeah.
For personal, I don't lack I lack the discipline to not go spend. And so I got to leave those cards at home.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, no. Go get gas on credit. Are you kidding me? That $100 tank now turned into a $300 tank because of interest over lifetime, right?
Exactly. You got to use your credit cards wisely. Use them for their intended purposes, which is to give you capital up front. And then credit was designed for business owners and business people to give them credit or capital up front so they could quickly get something to market, and then they would sell it or pay it back over time. And you got that 30-day window to pay back, which is fantastic for me. So yeah, credit, if you do it right, credit cards are really good. And credit and debt actually can be used if you use it properly. That's where there's some secrets that really super wealthy people use.
Yeah.
And it's all about debt management and managing and using debt. For example, there's a platform that I use called M1 Finance, and I invest money into M1 Finance, but then they give me the opportunity to do what's called, I borrow against my M1 Finance balance. So I can borrow against my investments. So my investments stay in the market, they stay growing, but then I can borrow cash, and it lets me borrow cash at like 3%. And then I can go, if I'm going to earn 7 or 8 or 9% on an investment, I could take the 3% monies, invest it at 7 or 8%, and then I can pay back the 3% and I get to keep the difference. And then that's banks do that all the time. It's called arbitrage. And it's a fantastic way to use money and use investments properly, use debt properly. If you're going to use debt, use it to create cash flow and to increase your net worth by using that to buy assets, to buy things that bring you money.
Do you do it a lot with clients with like credit repair, or like you have strategies on that? Like one of our one of our audience members, Nowhere Ranch, he's asking, he's like, I just got out all my credit card debt. My score dropped over 100 points.
Yeah, it kind of depends on if he had a lot of debt that was old and he hadn't paid on it for a while and now he's paying on it, then old things will become fresh because you just paid them off. And so now it's fresh on your account. So you kind of have to wait for that to kind of fall off. I don't do a lot of credit repair issues. I have people that I send people to for that. I don't do, but I can tell somebody if they want to increase their credit, the first thing you want to do is definitely get your budget under control so that you're not spending more than you're earning. And then you get your debts under control, because they really look at debt on-time payments, and they really look at your debt, your history. So don't close credit cards if you've had them on there. Keep them open, but just don't use them anymore. And then if you're going to use a credit card, they look at credit utilization, which is a percentage. So let's say you have 5 credit cards and you have $5,000 of available credit on each one. So you have a total of $25,000 on across all 5 cards. Okay. Only use one card, because if you use that one card, then it's at 3,000 or 4,000. Then it's actually like 20%. It's only a small percentage of your total overall credit availability, and then that helps your credit climb and grow over time. So the reality is that if you have things on your credit report, go seek out somebody who specializes in that, because they can help you jump your score probably in 30 or 60 days. I've seen scores jump 100 points or something. Mm-hmm. But if everything like that's already done and you're just trying to get to the next level of your credit, it's that you got to play the long game where you're just growing slowly but surely. That's what I do.
One of the things we used to do when I was in the mortgage industry is we'd take our clients and tell them make about 10 to 20% above the minimum payment. If you pay off the whole card, spend 20, 30 bucks every month, and then pay off half of it for the next 3 months. And we saw credit scores go up 80 to 150 points, but it took 2 to 3 months to see those results. But it's just having that tiny, tiny balance and making more than the minimum payment, but not paying the whole thing off. Which is the weirdest thing. It's like, it should benefit you to have it paid off. But that's not how they want you to play the game.
No, actually I do this thing with Lowe's where it's like 6 months, same as cash. Mm-hmm. And so the credit bureaus don't know it's the 6 months, same as cash. They just see a balance there over 6 months. So when I do that, I just amortize it over the 6 months. And so I don't get charged interest because it's 6 months, same as cash, but the credit bureaus think I'm carrying a balance. So as I pay it off slowly over the next 6 months or whatever, like right now I just bought a new washer and dryer, and it was same as cash for 18 months. I'm like, sweet, that's a low payment. I can do that.
Yeah. And that's free money.
Yeah, the credit bureaus are going to look and see this guy's huge balance now on his credit cards. Oh, he's slowly bringing it down. He's so wise in managing his credits,
he's
so well.
Responsible.
He's so responsible. Let's increase his score for being so responsible. So these are just tricks you can play the game. Like that way I don't pay any credit. I don't pay any interest, I should say, but I get to have the benefits of having it. The credit bureaus think that I'm having a lot of carrying a balance and then slowly diminishing it over time. And they do increase your score with that.
That's awesome. That's
so knowing how to there's certain debts that you should manage and certain debts that you should eliminate right away, like consumer debt for sure. Get rid of that as soon as possible. And then secured loans or secured debt that's backed by something that's important, like a car or a home, that can be managed. That can be, you can draw that out and just pay off the loan at the installment payments that are required, at the amortized payments that are required. But consumer debt, credit card debt, especially those cash, those quick check advance places. Oh man, get rid of. Do not do those ever. So managing and your debt is really important, but there's some of it that you should manage and some of it you should eliminate right away. And then, like you and I both know, dude, shielding and protecting our assets with life insurance, health insurance, all kinds of insurance. Insurance is such a critical component of your financial situation.
And what I love is there's so many life insurance products now that have so many living benefits, right? Mm-hmm. Like I have one policy still that doesn't have a lot of living benefits, but like disability, short-term and long-term disability benefits, riders inside the policies I have. Mm-hmm. So if something does happen, it's like, if I'm disabled for more than 3 months, I get $80,000.
Nice.
Like that's more than a year's income. Like that's mm-hmm. for some people, like that's the difference between keeping their house and losing their house. Right. Like by not having those types of things set in place. Like that's why I have, try to have the emergency fund, and I'll be honest, it's kind of light right now, but there are times where we've had, 6, 7 months in the emergency fund. Then we have our normal savings, our investments, and everything else. But it's just like keeping that always as is it's just really good insurance. Like, and it's the cheapest insurance because it's your insurance, it's yours, right?
Yeah.
And I always have gold. Well, I don't have gold. I always have silver as something I can exchange, and it hedges against inflation really well. So I always have that. And plus, I always have my food storage, because when I go without a job for a long period of time, guess what we're eating? Food storage. We're not going out to eat. We're not going to the grocery store. Like, we might buy 1 or 2 things and just, scrimp and save off out of our emergency fund, but we do not go buy a whole bunch of stuff because we don't need to. We've got it here. And when I say food storage, I really mean our home warehouse, right? And we follow the first in, first out rule. Like, we've got medications, we've got supplements, we've got vitamins, like, and we just rotate through those things. Oh, we're using a bottle. Okay, put it on the list to buy when you have extra money.
To me, that's a perfect example of a real, true emergency fund, because there's funds like, well, you can't eat money. So if you have 3 to 6 months, let me just really help somebody here, because a lot of people get mixed up on what they supposed to put in their emergency fund. Okay. To me, I tell people your fixed costs, your mortgage, your car payment, the stuff you cannot live without, that needs to be 3 months minimum of cash in the account. Because you can't walk down to the cable company and say, hey, I'll barter, a couple cans of, corn for my cell phone bill. No, you know what I mean? So you got to have cash for some things, but you don't have to have cash for food. You can actually go and build up your food storage, and that could be the next 3 to 6 months. Like, your 90-day pantry is 3 months of emergency food money. Like, what is your budget for groceries every month? So take that times 3 and make sure you have it. And that you don't have to save that now, because you have it in food. You don't need to put it in a bank account. Put it in food. Have it be real, tangible food. And so that's what I tell people, that fixed costs first, food second, and then if you want to, throw in a couple extra bucks for your, to pay your cell phone bill for 3 or 4 months, that's fine. But you know what I mean? Like, the variable costs can come last. But those first 3 are so important, especially if you really want to be. That's the thing about preparedness, is it's not always about doomsday. It's not always about, earthquakes. It's about life. And are you prepared for what life is going to bring to you? Do you have an emergency fund? Do you have life insurance on you and your spouse? Do you have life insurance? I just had a lady reach out to me. She says, can you insure my 2 daughters? Because she wants to have insurance on her kids. I mean, you got to have prepared. Being prepared is a lot of different things. And financial preparedness, to me, is one of the big keys to being ready for life. Because you don't want to lose your spouse and you lost their income. You're mourning for a month. You have to take a month off work. You might not get your job back if you take too long of time off. And so you're now a financial stress or strain. And now if you just, when I used to live in Fresno, California, they had car washes. It was the #1 city in the state of California for car washes to raise money for funeral expenses.
Oh, wow.
That's just like, come on, people, for 20, 50, $100 a month, whatever, you could totally eliminate all those issues and be prepared for that potential disaster or emergency in a family, in a life. That the loss of a loved one is a genuine emergency. It's a genuine, thing that we need to be prepared for.
Those are like the real, the everyday doomsdays, right?
Yeah.
The everyday doomsdays, the everyday reason you prep. Like, I've always prepped, and I've been very open about this. My #1 reason for prepping is loss of income. My #2 reason for prepping is loss of mobility, like a disability or chronic illness, like either in myself, my wife, or one of our kids. Because believe it or not, those change your whole world. Like lightning bolt, boom. All of a sudden, everything's different. So the things that we see going on in the world right now, like, we've got the economic crisis going on. We've got oil and gas shortages. We've got fertilizer shortages, baby food shortages. Like, those are like, I've never had that happen in my life, really, until now. And I'm 45. But I've gone without a job the longest 9 months without an income. And I've gone without an income probably 9 times in my lifetime.
That's way more likely.
Right? Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking not just my career time, but my growing up with my parents. Like, my dad's gone times without income where he couldn't get a client. He did construction. And other times it's just like everything was smooth,
Yeah.
you know. And you look at those and you think, growing up, seeing that, I was like, man, I'm going to crush it financially so that I don't have to worry about that. And then here I am, gone through it myself. It's like, you know what? Sometimes you can't be completely prepared for those things.
Mm-mm.
So you can't guarantee you'll always have an income, right? Maybe, well, once you're wealthy, then yeah, because you can have
Sure.
your annuities paying for stuff, but you can have assets that are providing an income. But if you're going to just go the job route, you can't guarantee you're always going to have an income. It's
Right.
impossible.
Because at some point you could be at jeopardy for having your job lost because your company isn't doing well and they got to make some
Mhm.
layoffs and some cutbacks, and you're the first to go. The other thing too is that I just talked with a guy earlier today, and he actually might be one of our affiliate links in the future. So it's kind of exciting. But he was on a conference call at work, and they were asking their employees to do something that he was morally and ethically, personally, in his personal belief system, was completely against his personal belief system. And he said, Paris, I felt good about it because he says, I wanted to quit, but they ended up firing me or letting me go. And because I voiced my concerns and they didn't like the pushback I was giving. He says, but I had a side hustle that I was working,
Oh,
and
nice.
I was able to transition into that side hustle full time. And now I'm making as much or more money than I was before, but I'm not in an environment where I'm being asked to do things that are against my moral and ethical codes, codes. So that's another thing to have savings for. Like if your boss comes to you and says, hey, I want you to do this, that, or the other, and you're not comfortable with that, you're probably going to do it if you don't have any money or you don't have a backup or you don't have a side hustle. You're going to
Yeah.
be forced into that. So that's another thing to prepare for. Is not Don't just save money just because you want to be rich or we want to have a doomsday. Save money because you have confidence and you can make better decisions and better choices. The best time to fix your roof is when it's sunny, not when it's raining. The best time to change jobs is when you have a good job, not when you're out of job and you're stressed out and you have to eat tomorrow
Right.
or you're dead. Like the
Oof.
best time to find a better job is when you already have a good job. Honestly,
Yeah.
the best
It
time to
really
build
is.
a the best time to build a business or build a side hustle is when you're comfortable in a job already.
Well, there's so many things you can do on the side. Like, you can do, one of the big things I like to do is affiliate marketing. That's part of how we make our money with Prepper Talk Radio. Like, we'll have links, people click on the links, we might like make a little bit of money. It doesn't change their buying experience. It doesn't change how much they're going to spend on it. That's the relationship with the end user, the
Mm-hmm.
customer, and the supplier who we have an affiliate link. They basically pay us commission for sending them traffic
Yep.
that closes. That's an easy side hustle. Makes a little bit of money here and there. You can do gig work. There's so many different websites you can go find gig work on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's you can do t-shirts, you can do print on demand, all kinds of stuff, right? You could do there's the Amazon platform. You can sell just about anything on there. You can do retail arbitrage where you go and find something at like the dollar store, turn around and sell it on Amazon, or you can go and do liquidation, which is one of the things that provides us our biggest amount of income right now. Is we go to auctions, like return goods auctions,
Mm-hmm.
buy them, and then turn around and sell it on Facebook Marketplace. And guess what? It's free to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. We accept all the payments through Venmo. So that's right now still free. The
Mm-hmm.
only time it costs us any money on that is if we decide to want the money right now instead of waiting a day or two.
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways you can do business and just really simplify. And that started as a side hustle, turned into our main hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and if we didn't have it, man, I don't know where we'd be,
Right.
because that's more steady than my old steady job.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
ironically enough.
awesome.
And that's kind of sad because I was in the mortgage industry.
Yeah. Right.
you know so finding something you can do on the side, to make a little extra money. If you have a skill, like skilled labor, if you can
Mm-hmm.
fix cars, do something on the side. I know a kid that he went and bought a car washing system and he put it in the back of his truck, and he'd go and only find like the richest neighborhoods and go in and knock on doors like, hey, I washed a guy's car down the street, I'm come out, and I do this once a week. I stop by my client's house and wash their cars. It's usually in the evenings when you're home from work and you don't have any other plans. Here's the rates, and he'd make money.
Nice.
And he quit his normal job because that was making so much more money than his normal job. So
That's
it's like
awesome.
you hear stories like that all the time. People do something and all of a sudden it's outperforming their normal job. They're like, now I have freedom. Now I
Mm-hmm.
can do more stuff. Now I can invest. I've got a bunch of friends that they'll buy residential real estate and put people in it, rent it out, and then they'll use that leverage to go buy more stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
use that leverage to go buy more stuff. And that, like, I know a kid that has over 300 doors, is what he says. It's 300 rentals or units.
Wow.
And he's like, I don't have to work another day in my whole life. I have a property management company that takes care of it. I've got a passive income, mostly passive. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm doing a lot wrong,
Yeah.
right? And then you've got your investments, like you've got dividend stocks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that work for someone who's never done it before?
So when anybody comes to me and says, Paris, I have money, I want to start investing, what do I invest in?
Mhm.
And my first question to them is, well, what kind of investor are you? And you have to kind of know what kind of an investor you are before you start making investments. And there's really three main areas to invest money into. One of them is stock market, which is traditional. Everybody kind of thinks about that. You can invest. Are you the kind of person that just wants to put a few $100s into the market and then just let it ride and let it do its thing, and you just keep going on in your life and what you want to do? If that's you, then you want to pick an index fund and you want to just put money into the index fund, because 80+% of money managers can't even beat the index. So just put money into the index. And in fact, Warren Buffett said the same. He says, if you were to advise, somebody asked him, if you were to advise your family where to invest, what would you tell them? He says, just pick an index fund, the S&P 500 or something like that. Just any one of these funds that are out there, and just invest money in that. And over time, that's produced the best results, and nobody can beat it consecutively or consistently. At
Yeah.
least 80% of people can't. The next way, if you want to if you want to be a little more active and be a little bit more, hey, I want to research some stocks, I want to do a little bit more of my own. Well, then are you a growth investor? Do you have a long time horizon? Are you a dividend investor? You want to have those income quarterly, income coming in every quarter. In fact, most people find out, the statistics show that most of the growth in anyone's portfolio is actually the dividend reinvestments. And so dividend paying stocks are fantastic. That's one of my faves. I chose that because that's kind of where I went with dividend paying stocks. Then the next thing to do after that is real estate. If you want to be
Yeah.
if you're the kind of person that loves, doing that, having those tangible, real property, land, whatever, there's so many different ways to invest in real estate. You can do single family residence, you can do apartment complexes, you can duplexes, you can do Airbnb
Commercial.
arbitrage. Airbnb arbitrage is making tons of money right now.
Yeah.
I've just barely found out about it, so I'm still learning. And then
Which is
finally,
crazy because they don't own like if it's arbitrage, they don't own it. They're
they
renting it
don't.
and they turn around
Yeah.
and rent it back out, rent it again. So it's a sublet type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've got to get permission from the landlord to make and to be yeah.
It's
I've been
so
watching that for
crazy.
2 years and I'm like, I just
People are
for me,
people are
it's
making
too risky. I'm like, oh, what if they can't like
well, then
what if you can't pay it?
that's not the kind of investor you are, Scott.
Yeah.
That's why it's not for you. And
Yeah.
so the last investor is a business owner. Do you want to invest in a business? Do you have a product, a skill, a service, something that can provide a solution to the marketplace? If you do, then that's the kind of investment you need to be in. And so what's your goal in investing? You're really, everybody says, well, I want to be financially free. Well, what does that even mean? Oh, I want to have $1 million. Well, what's $1 million going to do for you? Like once you get to $1 million, then what? What's the point? The point is having time freedom, the ability to do what you want, when you want, how you want. So what are you going to do with $1 million? Well, I'm going to invest it in a dividend paying portfolio that's going to give me 5%. Oh, 5% what? A year. That's 50 grand a year. So you literally have 50 grand a year. Your $1 million is producing 50 grand a year, and you don't have to do a darn thing because your million is producing 50,000 a year for you every year, year after year, and you never reduce your $1 million. What in real estate, what would be your goal? Well, I want to have, how much do you need to live comfortably? Well, I want 40 or 50,000. Well, then you need to find out how much rents are, how much money you can make over the
Yeah.
cost of your money and the debt that you're servicing on those rents, and then build up your portfolio to the point where you have those paid for you. One guy was saying, hey, I built I think he built a small home. He's like, I'm kind of, should I Airbnb it or should I sell it and then build two more? I was like, sell it and build two more, and then sell those two and build four more, and then sell those four and build eight more, and do that until you can have enough of those units where you can Airbnb them and they pay your bills. And then you now have time freedom and you walk away. He's like, bro, thank you so much for that advice. because that's what it's all about. It's about time freedom.
What's funny is like my uncle did that with his home. He lived in a rental while he built his home, bought his home, lived there 2 years, and then sold it and built 2 more homes, lived in one for 2 years, sold it and built 2 more homes.
Nice.
And I'm like, he had capital gains on one house, but not the other, because he'd always lived there the 2 years. And
Yeah,
now the house he's in now, I believe he had it paid off within 5 years of purchasing it, of building it.
that's so cool.
I'm like, brilliant.
Yep.
It'd be so nice to not have a mortgage. That's such a huge change to your financial world, not having a mortgage,
It is.
you know. And some people are like, oh, but the tax breaks. I'm like, yeah, find another tax break. Like, there's so many ways you can get tax breaks. A home is just one of them.
Yeah. The tax code, the IRS loves employees because that's where they get their most revenue is from the employees. They get very little revenue from business owners and from real estate investors and real estate professionals. The reality is that most people don't. They're like, why do the rich don't pay taxes? Of course they don't, because the IRS in the IRS codes allows them to write off so much stuff that it appears on paper that they make little money and they don't pay taxes. That's why, but they pay corporate tax, they pay other things, they provide value to the marketplace so that people can have a job. And so it's just, you learn the rules of the game and then play the game properly and play to win.
Win the game.
If you don't know the rules of the game, you're not going to win. And that's the money game. That there's genuine rules to, and they don't, I think personally, and this is the conspiracy guy in me, I might put on my cap here in a minute. I believe that there's a reason why they don't teach us how to manage our money in schools. There's a reason why they don't teach us how to manage our money in universities. There's a reason why they don't teach us how to invest properly. All that stuff happens outside of school, outside of the traditional path of education, because they want to keep us in this mindset of, oh no, just go get a job. Don't talk unless you're called upon. Raise your hand if you want to say anything. They're conditioning and programming us to be little robots to work on in their treadmill of their companies and make them rich. And that's why the rich keep getting richer, because we're caught up in it. We don't break away. We don't think outside the box. But if you're listening to this and you want to if you're in one of those jobs where you're like, it's a JOB, which I think is an acronym for Journey of the Broke, then you're going to, or just over broke, whatever you want. Broke, yeah. Whichever way it goes.
So true.
There's 2 different paths. There's one path of entrepreneurism where you're building a business, entrepreneurialism, sorry. And then there's also intrapreneurialism, where you're actually going to have the ability to work within a company and have the freedom to build. I know there's a lot of people that are multi-billionaires and millionaires and billionaires that work for other people because they have the autonomy to do so, and they are intrapreneurs. There's nothing wrong with working for somebody else if they can give you that freedom to build the wealth that you want to build and still accomplish your dreams. If their dream's so big that yours fits inside it, keep working for them. If your dream is big and theirs isn't as big as yours, then you need to switch jobs and you need to go do something else where the person who you're working for's dream is bigger than yours. Or you need to just forget about jobs altogether and start working on your own, building your own business and building your own investment strategy where you can actually get out of all that. I tell people all the time, I'm unemployable. Like, you can't pay me enough money to work in a cubicle ever again. Like, I don't care how much you think you're going to pay. I just forget it. Not doing it.
It's like done. Just don't. Yeah. Well, okay. So we're almost out of time. What would be top book, maybe top 2 or 3 books that you'd recommend somebody read to really get educated in finance?
So I really do recommend, if somebody's not very disciplined in their money, that the Total Money Makeover is really good. That's Dave Ramsey's book. I really also enjoy The Millionaire Next Door. The Millionaire Next Door is actually one of my faves of all time. I actually have met the new book is The Next Millionaire Next Door, and I met the author of that book. Thomas Stanley wrote the first book. He's passed away, but his daughter, Sarah Falah, took over, and she's fantastic. I've been on the phone with her several times. She's fantastic. And her whole program, I have actually got a lot of resources for people who want to kind of learn how to be, the next millionaire next door. However, wealth is an abundance. I believe in abundance and wealth. And to build an abundance, you need to have more of an abundant mindset. And so that's where I really love Robert Kiyosaki's work. You have to have the discipline to keep yourself grounded. And that's where Millionaire Next Door and Dave Ramsey are good. But then to change and transfer into that abundance mentality of, you know what, I can only shrink so far. I now need to expand. I need to grow more money, build more wealth. And that's where Rich Dad, Poor Dad come in. Cash Flow Quadrant is excellent. Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. I mean, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. These are just some really good resources. Yeah. Follow me at Financial Self-Reliance on YouTube. I'm actually at Financial Self-Reliance on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm everywhere, and I'll answer any questions you have and do some things. I actually have a group on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook and click my page and click groups and, you know, join How to Manage, Protect, and Grow Your Money on Facebook. And so, you know, money is one of those things that's critical. We all have to deal with it. We all have to work with it, but it's better to be prepared and be ready and have all your money and all your ducks in a row and know how to manage it properly so that you're not get hit by surprises and have emergencies. Because one of the biggest emergencies, Scott, you know this, is financial. That's one of the most prolific emergencies we're ever going to have in our life, is some kind of financial emergency.
And it's always on the micro scale. It's our personal finances. So, well, thank you for taking time today to kind of not do the normal prepping conversation, but one of the most important conversations about prepping is your finances. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that your career has led you to this point where you can actually help so many people. Guys, if you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, get over there, subscribe. Make sure you click the notifications button so you can actually be reminded when we punch a new video out there. We're also going to be doing some live streams there, as well as on our Facebook group. You can find that with the link below. You can get to all of our channels. Follow us, Prepper Talk Radio. And this has been another fun-filled episode. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Awesome.